Arjuna asks Krishna, how does this Lord of sacrifice live in the body, and in which part of the body does he live? How can those engaged in devotional service know you at the time of death? God figuratively lives through our inner forces, thinking, feeling, believing, contemplating, desiring, and by pursuing the mysteries of paradox, which often leave us feeling dreadful. Through devotional service, man earns the right to know himself, and by knowing himself, he learns more about God, who created us all. A religious Jew dies in his head, a religious Christian dies in his heart, a religious Muslim dies in his soul, and a religious Hindu dies in his navel. To transcend the inner force they're immersed in, the religious ought to learn to respect the faiths of all others. In this way, they perceive God coming towards them from more than one direction. Krishna tells Arjuna the indestructible, transcendental, living entity is called Brahman, and the eternal nature within him or her is the self. Sacrifices performed for others is called karma or fruitful activities. A Brahman is someone in the priestly class of Hinduism, a person of high social standing and cultivated intellect and taste. The Brahmin were the ruling class of India until the caste system was outlawed in 1950. But religious restrictions forced on lower castes, still must be resisted today. The word Brahman means to swell, expand, grow, and enlarge. You can, I'm sure, imagine it as also associated with the ego and the arrogance in believing you were created better than others. The self exists in the self of us all. The self is God. God manifests his presence through our 7 inner forces. God came to early man externally through nature. He then came to ancient Hindus through the navel, the portal between our external world and our inner world. There's a mystical connection between the God around us and the God within that we can perceive thanks to our mother and the scar we have on our belly that we got when we were separated from her at birth. Contemplation of our navel is the essence of the Hindu faith. Contemplation holds the essential power we need to think clearly, feel lovingly, and believe soulfully. When we use the power of karma in service of God, combined with self-contemplation, we overcome our tendency to be petty, passive-aggressive, and vindictive. Good thoughts. We'll talk again tomorrow.